Welcome back. It's Alexis Balan. That sounds so weird, but I'm trying to get in the habit of like saying my name in these videos because you never know when it's someone's first time. Here I am back in front of my couch. I am using artificial lighting, so I hope this is okay. In all fairness, it's not just because I've gotten a late start to the day. It's been raining all day, so it was overcast anyway. This is day 15 of my Vlogmas videos. Vlogging every day up until Christmas. If this is your first segue video, go check out the rest of them because we should get to know each other. So I've asked you guys your assumptions about me. I have no pants on, so I hope that's not in the frame. On Instagram and on YouTube. I love using Instagram questions and polls just to communicate with you guys, so make sure you follow me. I'm about to respond to the assumptions that you guys have about me. So tea time. And yes, I drink my tea out of a straw. Okay, a lot of these are just like compliments and thank you so much. I appreciate that. I guess we should start all these off as I assume. So I assume that you are content being alone and independent. Yes, I am very independent. I've taken care of myself since I was honestly like a preteen, and I don't really have, like, you know how people have that fallback, like if this all fails I can go back home. I don't have that, and I've never had that, so I've always had to kind of make things work for myself. As for being content being alone, yes, I'm almost scared that I've become so content with being alone that anybody coming into my space is just not gonna do it for me. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, if you're gonna come in my life, you need to be making it better. I always say, if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I just won't tolerate it because I know that I'll be fine on my own. I've been fine on my own. I don't know if the mic is picking that up, but that's the sound of my heat. It's a radiator system. So yeah, that one is true. I assume you're a little stuck up or high maintenance maybe. Thanks, King Aaron. I am not stuck up or high maintenance at all. I mean, anyone who watches my vlogs knows how insecure I can get. I just try not to dwell on those insecure thoughts too much, but I'm so far from stuck up, like, not even at all. And high maintenance, that is so false. That sound is like kind of annoying. I wish I were a little more high maintenance, honestly, because I talk about this in my vlogs. Like, when I meet someone new, I am so okay with just hanging in the house and doing nothing but watching TV, listening to music. Honestly, I prefer that over being wined and dined, spoiled. I actually feel a little awkward when people spoil me. I have a hard time accepting gifts. Like, I'm just like not like that at all. But I do wish I weren't sometimes. Especially in relationships, I feel like it sets such a lazy precedent to just allow people into your home and just chill during those first encounters. Like, because from my experience, they tend to translate that as, I don't have to put in much work here. And that never feels good when you're being pursued. You don't want to always feel like you're accommodating someone. You want to feel like someone would go out of their way for you. And I kind of never feel that way because I'm so chill, so cool with just literally hanging out. I'm actually making that a new rule for myself that I need to stop that shit. I assume you never leave the house. During this time of year, winter, honestly, I try not to. But I mean, I went to Dez's. I go to the city a lot. For one, I don't like leaving the house because I just feel like it costs so much money to leave the house. Honestly, every time I leave the house, I end up spending at least $30 just on food that I probably could have made at home, and it probably would have tasted better, been a fraction of the cost. So when I do leave the house, I like to have a plan or an agenda. I mean, that's not always true. Sometimes I just like wandering aimlessly, especially in the city, to get inspiration. This time of year, that's not really a thing. So that assumption is kind of spot on, but kind of not. But I can see why you would think that, especially if you're watching this year's Vlogmas, because it's been freaking 30 degrees. And most of my vlogs have just been in this house. You make a lot of money but are frugal. Correct on I'm frugal. False that I make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, like, I just don't. Doing YouTube right now. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm a small fish in this big ass pond. So that is false. You rich, cause I don't see you working like a slave every day. P.S. It ain't a bad thing. This actually comes from someone that knows me, so I'm surprised that this is an assumption. That's very untrue. I feel like anybody who makes an assumption like this must be just an Instagram follower and not a watcher of my vlogs, because I mean, just yesterday I was penny pinching throughout the whole vlog. I went to the bread factory to get bread for $1.95. I didn't want to pay $1 extra for guac, and I love guac. I was combining all of my MTA Metro cards because I didn't want that extra change to go to waste. Definitely not rich. Definitely on the opposite spectrum of rich. As for working like a slave, I mean, if anybody has followed me, they know I worked like a slave for about 5 or 6 years. 10-hour days, 5-6 days a week, very demanding, had no time for anything else. In that time, I was able to save a little bit to sustain me while I try this full time, but it's a little bit and it's dwindling, and if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna be back at square one. So support me, please. Share any videos that you find shareable and watch as many as you can. I worked like a slave long enough to take a little bit of a break right now. And honestly, I think I had this misconception, and I think a lot of people have this misconception, not physically, but I feel like I work harder now that I'm kind of freelancing. Even though my old work was very demanding, at least I could disconnect and I had a separation between work and life. In some ways, the work is a little harder. You're obsessed with your weights. I think this assumption probably comes from this year's Vlogmas. And almost every one of these vlogs, I've probably mentioned something about my weight gain. I definitely would say it's false that I'm obsessed with my weight. I'd say I definitely have some body dysmorphia, and that just comes from the way my weight has fluctuated over the years. If anybody has been around from way back, even 5 years ago, you know that I was overweight at one point. I lost that weight, and then I recently went on birth control and started gaining weight again. I'm off the birth control now. I definitely struggle mentally with weight because I know firsthand how differently society treats you at different weights, and I plan to make an entire video about this. I never want to go back to how bad it got at one point. If I was obsessed, I don't think I would be unhappy, because I wouldn't be eating the crap that I'm eating. I'd probably be at my ideal weight. I will say though that I've been a little hypersensitive about it lately. That just comes from me wanting to be the best version of myself. And also the way that I eat is so heavily correlated with the way that I feel mentally. When I can see the physical manifestations of me not treating my body right, it's just a reminder, this domino effect where it's like, okay, that's why you feel so bad. Get it together. I would say that's somewhere on the sliding scale of true and false, but I also see why you would think that. Valid. I love the amount of people that said I don't have any assumptions about you, because it just shows the type of following that I've curated that wouldn't even make assumptions about people, so that's kind of nice. Your fascination with feminism is the result of hanging around too many whites and LGBT. Okay, shade. I don't even know what that means, hanging around too many whites and too many LGBT. Like, what is too many? Definitely have white friends because it's New York. I mean, I have friends of every race and culture. But I don't even know what you mean by too many, because my community and the people that I'm around, typically people of color. Even the people that you see in my videos that are white passing, like Des, for instance, she's Puerto Rican. I think you're just trying to throw shade here. First of all, my opinions on feminism are heavily influenced by women of color. Those are the dispositions and articles I read. Those are the issues that I concern myself with. But even if, because someone said this also on a recent vlog where I was hanging out with some queer or gay or trans friends, that's the reason that I don't like homophobes. Okay? When something affects you personally, you develop a stance on it. I develop a stance on prison reform because it affected me personally. My opinions on race and gender affect me personally. My stance on poverty has affected me personally. Yeah, you're a product of your environment. I don't think that my opinions, particularly on feminism, come from the LGBT community. Sure, my opinions on homophobia and trans rights definitely are influenced by my surroundings and people I love and people I care about, and wanting them to have the same rights as I want every single person to have. You were just trying to throw shade, so whatevs. I think you might be 28 years old, not because you look it, but because of how long you've been on YouTube. You might be somewhere in the realm, but you didn't guess correctly. So that's gonna be false. But I don't share my age for a reason. It's because it's just another label. People need to put you in categories so they can judge you. Age is just another one. Like, you should be at a certain place at this age, you should have this done, you should have this type of job, you should be settled down. That's the only reason why it matters to anyone. And I really just don't want that projected onto me, because I'm a time atheist and it doesn't matter to me. Ashley, I assume I'm your favorite person that the internet has ever brought to you, and I am. You are. I love the internet for that. I think if I just stayed in my hood where I'm from, I would probably never meet like-minded weirdos like myself, so I can never thank the internet enough for connecting me with people like you. Now you're one of my besties, so the internet is great for that. And that you're miserable and lonely, but is that really true? Do you feel alone? I think emotions are fluid. I don't lie to myself about them. I can acknowledge the negative ones just as I can acknowledge the positive ones. The point is I let them flow. Definitely have moments of loneliness. I definitely went through big changes in my life that would make me feel lonely. Losing all of my brothers to incarceration, or losing my grandmother, you know, losing these people who were a part of my daily routine, and poof, one day they're not. I think that would make anybody feel lonely. I don't think that my constant state is lonely or miserable. I don't even like reading something like that because I feel like it puts bad juju on me. I am one of those artists who creates from a place of pain, and I resonate with artists who create from a place of pain. Not saying every artist does. For me, that's when I feel the most compelled to write, especially with writing. Like, it's just because I'm trying to sort those thoughts out. When I'm feeling happy or having happy experiences, I don't really need to do that because I don't need to sort my happiness out. I'm feeling it, it's great. It's not something I really need to make sense of. But when I'm suffering, it's a different thing where I have to where my mind starts getting jumbled up and I just need to get it all out, purge it all out, so I can kind of look at it, dissect it, and grow from it. Even the things I write that are about pain are self-introspective and me learning more about myself. I would say that one is false. So yeah, that's it. I'm glad it wasn't that long. The sun is completely gone and I'm sure the lighting has changed from the beginning of this video. That was fun. I'm probably gonna do another one in the future. So make sure you're following me on Instagram and you're just keeping up with what I'm doing so that when I do ask it again, you're able to join in on the discussion. Make sure you rate, subscribe, and please hit the notification bell because you will not know when I upload a video. If you don't, I don't even see my own friends in my feed. It's necessary. I will see you tomorrow for day 16. Only 10 more days to go.